In this video, we'll be taking a look at the updated version 2 of attached documents on a client's profile. So we'll see some of the new features that have been added, as well as go over some of the features that are still there and work the same way, such as how you would share a file with your client or make a file private so it's not shared. So I'm currently logged into TherapyZen. I'm looking at a client's record and I want to go ahead and attach a few files to this record. And you notice right away that the layout's a little bit different. At the top here we have kind of the upload area, and then down below is where we'll be storing all of the attached documents. There are a couple notifications you should be aware of when it comes to uploaded documents or attached docs. The first being that there is a maximum allowable file size of 10 megabytes for any individual file that you upload. That's pretty big for any individual file, so you shouldn't have any problems exceeding that limit. And the second thing to note here is if you do upload a file that already exists on the record and has the same file name, TherapyZen will not overwrite the original ones. You'll end up with two separate files, even if they are exactly the same. So it's good to just kind of keep track of what you've uploaded to a record and what you're currently uploading to that record, making sure you don't have any duplicates. So let's go ahead and add a few files to this record, and then we'll see some of the new features we've added. So I'm going to go ahead and click Select Files, and I've got a few different files here that I'm going to upload. One is a treatment planning sheet, one is an adult paperwork doc, and the other is a HIPAA agreement. I'm going to go ahead and click Open. And there are my files waiting to be uploaded. So it gives me the name of the file, gives me the file size, also gives me a nifty little icon here depending on what the file is. As you saw, two of them are PDFs and one is a Word doc. So I'm ready to go ahead and upload. I'm just going to come over here, click Upload Files. Okay, so my upload is complete. You can see the documents are now attached and they show up in this grid down below. However, if I come back up here to this staging area, I've got some new options for these files that I've just attached. So the first thing I can do now is I can assign each of these documents into a category, and we've provided a list of categories for different types of attachments. So if I go to the first one here, I can hit the drop down, and here's a whole list of different types of uploads or attachments you can have on a file. Ranging from educational to finance, medical, correspondence, whether or not this is a consent, whatever it may be. So I'm going to say that this first one here is just we'll call this one a medical record. Okay, and after making that selection, you see that that category has now been applied to this document. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing for the remaining two. And I'll select a different type of category for each of these. Okay, so now I've got my attached documents categorized. I see my categories down here. I can also, in the staging area, I can denote whether I want a file to be private or if I want to go ahead and share it with the client, which means they can download it in the client portal. I'll go ahead and do that for this one here. Okay, so now that I'm done with assigning categories as well as sharing and making these files private, if I look at the actual files that I've attached, I can see now that there is a file size for each one. I can also see when the actual upload took place, and of course the file name for each one. And if I click the file name, it'll actually let me download that file. And then finally, one new feature I want to make note of here is for these attachments, I can now do some things such as filter by the name of the file if I wanted to, which essentially allows me to search. So if I wanted to search for a file that contains the phrase HIPAA, I could go ahead and type that in, and it should show me any files that have that in the file name. If I want to go ahead and clear that filter out, I'll just clear it, and that returns me back to all of my files that I see here. Another one of the options is to filter by category. So if I click this icon, here are all the different categories of files that I have created and attached to this particular file. So I can go ahead and click one of them here and set that filter, and it'll go ahead and remove all the rest or just show me the one that I'm looking for, the one category I'm looking for. So I'll go ahead and clear that filter. And then finally I can filter based off of the permissions. So if I only want to see private files, or if I want to see ones that are shared with my clients, I can go ahead and click that and show me any files that are shared with this particular client. So I'm going to go ahead and clear that filter, and there I am back at my list. So once again, this is the staging area. Everything takes place up here in terms of getting the files attached, and then once they're attached, you've got much more freedom and flexibility down here with the files attached to this record.